702.
The Big Interview.
Hi, good morning, 702 listeners. My name is Sam from Soweto. I remember Tshidi Madia on her podcast when she was interviewing Julius Malema. When Julius Malema was saying, Tshidi, I'm not going anywhere. Thank you, Sam from Joburg.
Morning, 702 Land. Wow, man, Tshidi. Wow, I'm gonna miss the laughter, the hard questions she had, the humor she just had. I love watching politicking with Tshidi. Yeah, what a loss! What a loss! Condolences to the family at large.
Thank you so much for your WhatsApps this morning. They're pouring in, and we can't get to all of them. We're trying to get through quite a few. Talking to some of Tshidi's former colleagues now, and somebody who worked closely with Eyewitness News and with Tshidi as well, is Sbu Ngalwa. Sbu, good morning. Good to have you on 702.
Thank you for having me, Ray, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about my friend and colleague.
Oh, Sbu, I mean, condolences to you as well. You and Tshidi were friends and colleagues. We've lost a powerhouse in SA journalism. I mean, I can only imagine what you're thinking this morning.
I think, Ray, it's been a difficult one, but it's not just my loss. It's a loss for the entire EWN family, the entire journalism fraternity, South Africans, and I would even argue Africans at large. So such was the impact of Tshidi on our lives and in the body of journalism and telling of the South African story.
Yeah. All right. We all work together up in that Eyewitness newsroom, and your memories, some of your memories of Tshidi, because you also worked on many stories closely together. And this was the lovely thing, because we had you on the one hand, this political powerhouse, and we had another powerhouse being Tshidi Madia. I mean, some of your memories.
I must say, Ray, that I would say I was a political imposter. Tshidi was always the superstar. What had happened is that when I arrived at EWN, and Tshidi was the senior politics reporter, and I appointed her as politics editor, as associate editor for politics, and I was clear to her with my mandate. I said, Tshidi, you are the Messi to my Barcelona. You are going to lift our political coverage, will build the political coverage around you, and you will take EWN to the next level. And that's a role, Ray, she carried with great aplomb. And she also played a huge role in nurturing young talent. She had time for young talent. She had time for the underdog. She loved people who were othered. She also loved political misfits, Ray. And she had like, for instance, there's a reason why Ace Makashule, when he was kicked out of the ANC, the first person he thought of calling was Tshidi Madia, because Tshidi had time and she had an ear for everyone. And she was respected across the industry. And I mean, you asked about a personal anecdote. I always called her by her full name, Matsidiso. And she used to argue with me that whenever she was called Matsidiso is when she was in trouble. But funnily enough, she called me Mhleli, which is the Nguni word for the editor.
Yeah.
But when she was upset with me, she would call me Sibusiso.
Oh, I remember
that. And her favorite refrain was that Sibusiso la lapisa, which is Sibusiso, you are tiring. You know, you and your people la lapisa. I was Sibusiso. And she had this thing where she would walk into my office and she'd say, can we talk? And by the time she finishes that sentence, she has closed the door and she has plunked herself into a seat. She's not actually asking me to talk to her. She's telling me that she's coming with an issue, and then that was Tshidi Ray. And the thing about her is that she worked very hard, and sometimes I think to her detriment. You know, there'd be times where she would call me late in the night and say, "Hey, you won't believe what I just heard. This is what just happened." It's like, yeah, well, sure, okay. Let's deal with it in the morning. It's like, oh, what's Sbu? You're not interested. I'm like, no, I'm interested, but we'll deal with it in the morning. You know, that was Tshidi, and I think, Ray, the outpouring of love is a testament to what Tshidi was to all of us and what she was to this country that she served so well.
But it's so interesting, Sbu, because she had that ability to make those relationships with politicians. But it wasn't a friendship. Those people knew, those politicians knew that Tshidi was going to come for them either way. But she managed to get in with them, and they would actually confide in her, like you said with Ace Magashule. These things don't happen, do they? This is a rare type of political editor, political reporter.
No, naturally. And I think the thing is that you can't separate the person from the professional. Yes, there's a professional side, but who Tshidi was as a human being, she's personable, she's loving, and she's loyal, and she actually genuinely had time for people, and that's why she commanded respect across the spectrum. I think there was a politician who wrote yesterday, I think it was Phumzile van Dam, who said there was a point where she would argue with Tshidi, and she believed that Tshidi hated her party at that time, when she actually got to a point where she realized that I'm sure every other politician at some point believed that about Tshidi, but then learned to appreciate that Tshidi was just the consummate professional, and she was fair, and she was ethical as a journalist, and there was never a blurring of the lines. There were relationships where, we deal with politicians every day. These are people we talk to every day. We grow close relationship, but there was never a time when Tshidi broke her journalistic ethics or lowered her journalistic standards, regardless of who the player was. She understood the role she played as a journalist and the role of journalism in our society, Ray.
Yeah. What are you going to miss the most about it? It's a difficult question. It's a complex question, but what are you going to miss the most about her?
Ray, the sadness with this is that Tshidi was always a star, but her passing comes at a time when her star was shining ever so bright. She and I would argue time and again. I said, okay, now it's time that you must do public speaking. You must have a manager. And she says, no, that's not for me. But in June, she said to me, Sbu, I'm ready. You had always said, let's have this discussion. And I said, okay, that's fine. I took her to introduce her to a what do they call, talent management company that I knew. And she sent me a message actually at the beginning of this month and says, look, I've signed with the speaker's firm and I'm excited. And I said, that's good. Those are good people. And she said, I trust you. Ray, when I read that message now, and I think that was Tshidi, she was so genuine, and she loved when she loved, and also it was also her flaw, because that was also, she trusted too much, and sometimes people would disappoint her, but what I'll miss about her really is her dedication to journalism, and also she had no time for authority, This is the woman who could shout for Trump to recognize her at the Oval Office. How much more for a lowly guy like me and you,
Oh, you're so right.
You
So right.
She doesn't care whether you are a news editor, an editor-in-chief, a CEO, or a president. She's Tshidi Madia, and that is what I will miss about her. But I think that she has left truly a mark in South African journalism. And I hope that the young people she was coaching and nurturing will continue on that path. But also, I think we can keep her memory alive by always referring and also profiling the work that she did, and also putting her as the lodestar and the model of what true journalism is about.
Sbu Ngalwa, it's been lovely chatting to you this morning. Thank you so much. Sbu Ngalwa, of course, working with us at Eyewitness News. He was the editor-in-chief there. Thank you, Sbu. Great to have you on 702. Joining us, ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula. Good morning, SG. Good to have you also on 702. I just wish we were talking under other circumstances and not this one. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, and to all your listeners and EWN. Thank you for having us to pay tribute to Tshidi. What a wonderful soul, and very truly independent mind. Non-partisan, say it as it is. She will take you on, open to engagement, and where there was a need to admit that, yes, I committed a mistake, it's an oversight, she will, but she didn't pull punches. I mean, Tshidi was truly a patriot and a journalist who stood the ground on issues, and is not a kind of person you'll go to her to a show and then you'll choose issues. No bucks. She will no bucks. No bucks. No. I've got to ask you questions. I mean, it was a shock. I mean, it's a shock. Condolences to EWN, to the colleagues in the media, and her family. Indeed, we are poorer without her.
Thank you. Some of your other sort of memories as well, because she did. I mean, I know I edited some of the stories involving yourself. Some of your memories were seedy because you're right. She didn't pull her punches, did she?
No, she didn't. She was fair. And I think I've got many memories with Tshidi. As Secretary-General, and even before then, but the Secretary-General, I interacted a lot with her in press conferences, and as well as I came to the studio when she launched the show there. We had a long interview and so on. So a lot of things that we engaged around. But you know what?
Yeah.
You wouldn't bear a grudge with Tshidi because she will give you a fair chance, but she wouldn't. No, there's no question she wouldn't ask you. You know, and she really kept us on our toes and accountable, and that's what is important.
I would think as well she's a good lesson for younger journalists coming through, because you're on the other side. We ask the questions, but you're on the other side. This is a great lesson for other journalists to act like Tshidi acted, ask the hard questions, but also be fair.
Yes, all of us, she was, rising, and South Africa will remember her for what happened at the Oval Office. And when she was in the United States, she really moved this nation, in a big way. And she touched every soul, I can tell you, because that movie that was playing in that Oval Office was watched by every South African, black and white. And then for those who didn't know her, some of us, we knew her because we were in the field with her. That was the moment for Tshidi. And, it was indeed a shock to learn about her passing away. But may her soul rest in peace, man. History will remember her, fairly. And as a great South African indeed.
Thank you so much, ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula. Thank you so much for your kind words and also for coming on to 702 this morning. We really do appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Condolences once more. Thank you very much. Thank you.
There we go.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.